Hey, what's going on guys? I'm Mr. Build It, and in today's video, I'm gonna show you how I took my old master bathroom and turned it into that. So without wasting time, let's get into the video. Let's go. When it comes to demo work, every job is completely different, but I stick to the same rules that I like to follow. So some of those things to minimize the headaches are cover the floors from getting damaged, turn the electrical power breaker off, be mindful where all the wall studs are. So if you need to pry something off, ensure that all the screws are detached from that wall stud. And then if you need to pull something off, use a putty knife with a pry bar to gently remove it from that section of the wall. Have a shop vac next to you, that way you can kind of clean up as you're going so you're not working with this huge mess. And when you're doing plumbing, be sure to turn off the main water line and have plenty of rags nearby to catch all the residual water that's still left in the water lines when disconnecting. The cabinet vanity was built of a few different materials, but starting with the base, I used 3/4 inch maple plywood and simply made the separating compartments, securing them with wood glue and pocket holes. Now the big tip here is to ensure all of your compartments are perfectly square on both planes. And the reason why is when it comes to building the drawers and doors, you'll have a huge pain in the butt aligning all these varying dimensions. I use those Rockler clampet assembling squares to keep me on the square and narrow throughout this section of the build. To conceal the exposed plywood edges, I built the cabinet face frames, securing them with wood glue and pocket holes. Now, in order to secure the face frame successfully to the cabinet base, make sure you place enough pocket holes on the cabinet sides vertically, specifically in areas where you can't see them even when the doors and drawers are open. For the cabinet doors, I wanted a retro cleated look, so the pieces were ripped to 2-inch strips and assembled using a dowel jig from Rockler. With this jig, all that's required is aligning your pieces, pre-drilling the holes with a 3/8 bit until you hit the stopper, and then setting your dowels in with some wood glue. Full transparency, to speed up this process, I use my Festool Domino. A lot of people don't have this tool, but it's no big deal, and all it does is just speeds up the process to create a lot of mortise and tenons when you need them the most. The big piece of advice I'll tell you when it comes to assembling these doors during glue up is use the minimum amount of clamping pressure. That way your doors don't warp after the glue dries and you remove your clamps. The drawer boxes were made out of 1/2-inch maple ply to keep them lighter. Now to make them stronger, I used a router table box jig that just sits over your existing router table and slides back and forth, creating repeating 3/8 cuts that would lock in place like a puzzle piece. This ensures long-term strength over decades pushing and pulling on these drawers. For hardware to be a bit fancy, I went with these Blum 110-degree soft closing hinges. Now this particular style I bought, they were the wrong style as they're meant for frameless style cabinets, but to fix that problem, instead of returning them, all I did is I attached a little spacer block behind the hinge on the cabinet itself, and it acts as a frameless cabinet now. My mistake, but problem got solved this way. Being a floating cabinet, I needed to redirect the hot and cold water lines to come from the wall instead of the floor. If it was 10 years ago where all we had was copper piping that's required soldering, I wouldn't touch this project with a 10-foot pole based off my skill set. But with the invention of this PEX piping, it couldn't get any easier. It's basically like working with Legos. And so once you invest into that $30, $40 crimping tool, simply slide the 1/2-inch crimping ring on, followed by the 90-degree plastic elbow, and compress the crimping ring till the crimping tool reaches a hard stop and you've got a certified water seal. For lighting, since we wanted to do separate his and her mirrors, we thought it would look personal and cozy to have separate light fixtures over each mirror. I installed the new light boxes where I wanted them to sit, and then made a split from 1 cable to 2 cable into those boxes and connected them through 1 junction box. Now for safety reasons, I connected them through 1 junction box with a cover sitting behind the mirror. Aesthetically, this won't be a problem since the mirror will be covering it, but this is a great point to tell you guys, if you are going to be tackling on this project, make sure you look up your local building codes for plumbing and electrical just to keep you safe. For drywall, I used a mold-resistant 1/2-inch drywall that's recommended for bathrooms. I secured all the joints with drywall tape and multiple coats of drywall compound, sanding everything down to 120 grit to ensure even and smooth transitions for the backsplash tile to be installed. After all the subflooring was repaired, I was lucky enough to find the exact flooring tile that was used in this bathroom that I needed to extend the extra 6 square feet running underneath the cabinet. I tell you, if I wasn't so lucky, I would have no choice but demo all the old tile and spend more money to finish this project off. Hey guys, this is a perfect opportunity to talk about this week's sponsor, Audible. I just finished listening to Woodworking Basics by JJ Saunders, where I learned tons of great joinery techniques that you might have seen in this video. Audible Originals are exclusive audio titles created by celebrated storytellers from worlds as diverse as theater, journalism, literature, and more. Get your first audiobooks plus 2 free originals when you try Audible for 30 days. Visit audible.com/MrBuildIt. That's all one word. Or text Mr. Build It to 500-500. Audible content includes unmasked selection of audiobooks, original audio shows, news, comedy, and more from leading audio book publishers, broadcasters, entertainers, magazines, and newspaper publishers and business information providers. Go to audible.com/MrBuildIt, one word, or text Mr. Build It to get started today. Thanks, Audible. Let's get back to work. Speaking of luck, I was lucky enough to have my wife come and help me hang this cabinet up, and after the cabinet was secured and hanging off the back wall sitting on car jacks, I used a small hydraulic bottle jack to lift the cabinet and level it into place. Once it was done, I then secured it into the wall studs through the cabinet from the sides. So the cabinet attachment method onto the wall is going to be what's called a French cleat system. And I've done the system before, and all it is a piece of plywood that's ripped at a 45-degree angle. And the way that kind of works is one piece sits on the cabinet this way, and then the other piece sits on the wall this way. And essentially what you do is you do like a hook system where the top cabinet slides up and catches it on top. And then at that point on, you can start securing it to the wall at other different anchoring locations. For the backsplash, I went with a herringbone pattern using a 2x8-inch subway tile. This was about 200 bucks in subway tile, and the best way I found to keep the pattern consistent as you're working is setting the base row first. Use a small speed square to ensure every piece in that row is sitting at a perfect 45 degrees. And then from that point on, you're safe to work up using the 1/8-inch rubber spacers to continue your pattern. Once all the tile was done, I finished them off with a charcoal grout, painted the hideous mustard yellow walls with a frosty white from Sherwin-Williams, and then I just covered up all the light fixture covers and finished off with a 6-inch trim baseboard. Alright, so originally I put a little junction box down there to be able to hook up the electrical, but I realized that it was not the prime spot, specifically because the cable I needed to tap into didn't have enough slack, so it would make it very difficult to extend the plug. So I thought I'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm going to create a little toilet dispenser right here. I'm going to have a little shelf to it to put your phone, but the kicker is I also want to put a little USB charger to charge your phone there. So I figured I might as well take this power unit, give it a little plug here, and then power that one there as well. And we'll go through here. So that's what we're going to do. Once I extended the power outlets to run under the cabinet, I picked up a plug-and-play kind of LED kit on Amazon with a motion-activated light sensor that would turn on when somebody walks in and then turn off when the timer was done. I'll be sure to put a link down in the description for you guys to check out. After all the black faucets went in, for the final details, I installed the matching all-black hardware on the cabinet's doors and drawers, hung up the lights. The mirrors were hung up using these heavy-duty wall anchors that are designed for walls that are tiled, and of course the geometric towel rack. I will make sure to leave a link down in the description for all these products that I use for you guys to check out. Well, that is it for me this week. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're brand new to the channel and you like stuff like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. The next video we're gonna put out is us tackling on the shower project on the bathtub. We're gonna knock it all out and make something really impressive out of it. So make sure you hit that notification bell. That way you'll be alerted and you'll be the first one to know when the video comes out. Make sure you like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Let me know what you guys think in the comment sections below. I ran into a few problems. I'd love to answer any questions that you guys might have. I'll put links to my social media in the descriptions below. Make sure you guys check all that stuff out. Tune out this week. We'll see you guys next week. See ya. Bye.